How does one man manage to piss off and end up beefing with about half of the entire rap industry? Or how does one man end up making enemies out of people he once considered friends? This beef got so bad that they ended up releasing not only diss songs, but 2 diss albums against him. I'm sure you all know I'm talking about none other than Drake himself. And this story all started with this man, the mastermind himself, the man who Drake told to,
Nigga, Metro, shut your whole ass up and make.
Metro and Drake were first brought together by Future. Drake was featured on Future's song, Where Ya At, which was produced by Metro. They then collaborated extensively on Drake and Future's album, What a Time to Be Alive, where Metro produced 10 out of the 11 songs on the album. The first time Metro Boomin would actually work on a Drake album was on Certified Lover Boy, where Metro produced the song Knife Talk. But Drake and Metro started having problems after What a Time to Be Alive 2 wasn't released. Drake and Future actually stated that the album was actually ready, and Metro produced most of the album, if not all the songs. However, the album was scrapped as Drake decided to release his collab album with 21 Savage, Her Loss, instead. Metro was pissed that the album wasn't released. I mean, no one wants to see their time and effort go to waste. This was perhaps one of the reasons why Drake wasn't on Metro Boomin's Heroes and Villains album. Drake actually wanted to be on the album, and he did record a verse for one of the songs on the project, but Metro decided against having him on the album. Drizzy wanted to jump on the song Trance that had Travis Scott and Young Thug on it. Metro told Drake that he liked the song just how it was, and didn't think that it needed a new verse. Drake told him that he was gonna do the verse, and then Metro would decide if he liked the verse and wanted to keep it on the song or not. Drake did his verse, but Metro wasn't convinced.
What happened with the Trance record? Because Drake, obviously his verse leaked this week. Why did that version not make the album?
Really, it was a song I had did with Travis and Thug originally for my album, and I was just in the studio with Drake one time, because we were gonna do some stuff for my album, and he just wanted to hear some songs from my album. Then he heard that one and really wanted to get on it, but like I was letting him know that he was really just done for real, and I was really just set on how it was. I was like, bro, I ain't even trying to sell you no dream. Like, it's really like just locked in. I'm locked in where it was, but he hit me and was just like, man, let me see if it's just anything he could add to it. And then he was like, if you don't like it, then whatever. So he did some stuff, a couple parts was cool, but like I just felt like just even with like Slime verse and Trav verse and the outro, it was just already like, it just really wasn't no room. It was just wasn't no room. It wasn't no person, it just wasn't no room. So I just ended up using the original, and I guess the other one just leaked.
The song leaked online, and if you haven't heard it, you gotta admit that the Drake verse was fire. And this is why everyone was surprised that Metro didn't want Drake on it. The version of the song that had Drake's verse on it was then leaked online, and many believe that it was leaked by Drizzy himself. Metro and Drake's relationship then became worse when Drake's album, Her Loss, was sweeping the awards against Metro's Heroes and Villains. Metro tweeted, "Yet Her Loss keeps winning Rap of the Year album over H&V. Proof that award shows are just politics and not for me. I don't care about awards, honestly. The true award and reward is knowing that the music I spend so much time on brings joy to people's everyday lives." Metro Boomin later deleted this post, but nothing happens without the Six God knowing about it. Drake responded by first posting lyrics from Jay-Z's Heart of the City. Then he posted this video mocking Metro.
Sincere thank you from me to you for an incredible year. We've been at this for a long time, and you continue to uplift me and accept me. So thank you. And to the rest of you, the non-believers, the underachievers, the tweet and deleters, you guys make me sick to my stomachs, fam. Honestly, if you guys want to look in my eyes, you guys want to do something? That's what I thought. No.
Everyone knows Metro is the tweeter deleter Drake was referring to. But Metro knew he couldn't win this beef alone. The man can't rap or drop any bars. He can only make beats. So he started calling on all the people who supposedly hated Drake, sort of like Thanos collecting Infinity Stones. Metro made 2 whole joint albums going at Drake, and the man he collabed for these albums is the rapper who actually brought him and Drake together, Future. This came as a surprise to many people, as Drake and Future have always seemed like very good friends, as they have collaborated on various songs and even released a joint album. No one knows exactly why Future and Drake started beefing. The last time they worked together was on Future's album, I Never Liked You. Some people speculated that they began beefing over a girl, but Metro shut down this rumor when he tweeted, "Stop making stuff up and enjoy the music." Future might have chosen to take Metro Boomin's side in this beef, as he and Metro are very good friends. And you can interpret this as Future just being a man of his words. I mean, Metro's producer tag is Future literally saying, "If young Metro don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you." So Future might just be holding it down for his man. Metro and Future continue to let the world know that they just don't F with Drake. The first album was called We Don't Trust You, and if you had any doubts about how they feel, the second album was then named We Still Don't Trust You. And Drake ain't holding back either. On his song Push Ups, he reminded Future that he gave him his first #1 song. "I can never be your #1 fan. Your first #1, I had to put it in your hand." And no one can deny that Drake played a huge part in Future becoming as big as he is. However, Future didn't have an exact specific reason for hating on Drake. This next rapper actually branded himself as Drizzy's biggest hater. He hates the way that Drake walks. He hates the way that Drake talks. Well, you get the picture.
Been about love and hate, now let me say I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. I hate the way...
Drake and Kendrick Lamar have a very detailed history. It's that beef that everyone knew was going to happen at some point, and no matter how long it took, every hip-hop fan was waiting for it. Kendrick and Drake actually started as friends. In fact, Drake was one of the first people who put Kendrick on. A lot of people don't know Kendrick was actually on Drake's Take Care album. Kendrick did an interlude on the album called Buried Alive before K-Dot then featured Drake on his own album, and they did Poetic Justice together. Drake also had Kendrick and another rapper who now hates Drake as the opening acts on his 2012 Club Paradise tour. And when Kendrick was asked what it was like meeting Drake for the first time, he described Drake as a real good dude and stated that he got a real genuine soul. Kendrick even went on to say, "Sometimes you like a person's music, but you definitely don't like the actual artist when you sit down and talk to them." We clicked immediately. So Drake and Kendrick did have a good working relationship, but all of this changed just about a year later when that crazy verse dropped in August 2013. Kendrick's verse on Control was a huge moment for hip-hop that year, a huge moment for the rappers of K-Dot's generation, and a huge moment for Kendrick himself. Many people consider this verse as Kendrick declaring friendly competition, and this verse was also seen as a wake-up call for the entire hip-hop community, reminding everyone about the competitiveness of hip-hop. But not everyone was happy about this verse.
This up and elevate it too much?
Nah, I feel like that's it. It's like, you know, he's the new guy to love, and of course, I mean, rightfully so. He's super talented, you know. But thank you. But he's but he's like, you know, he is the underdog that's extremely hungry. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing his thing really well. And that verse was, he's giving people like moments, you know, like that verse was a moment to talk about. Are you listening to it now at this point in time? Okay. And then it was real cool for like, you know, a couple weeks. But like, if I asked you, for example, like, how does that verse start?
Oh, do you remember?
Drake practically described Kendrick's verse as forgettable, and you could tell the man was feeling all sus about it. Then he stated that he saw K-Dot 5 days at the VMAs, and he didn't like the fact that he didn't maintain the same energy he had on the verse.
because I saw him 5 days later at the VMAs and it was all love. So it's like, he didn't come on there on some wild, like, yeah, I'm in New York, fuck everybody, don't look at me. Like,
I'm the king.
So it was one of those things, it's like, I almost wish he had come in there on that shit because I kind of lost like a little respect for the sentiment of the verse. If it's really fuck everybody, then it needs to be fuck everybody. It just can't be halfway for the sake of the people. But you know what I'm saying? Like, for real, that's just how I feel.
You can't deny that one of the reasons this beef began is because Kendrick went from being the underdog or opening act for Drake to being his biggest competition. After this incident, a decade of sneak dissing began between Kendrick and Drake. They both claimed during interviews that they had no beef or any issues, but everyone knew they don't F with each other. All the subliminals eventually stopped after Drake and Cole released the song First Person Shooter. J. Cole talked about the big three on the song, but K-Dot was having none of it. And when he jumped on Metro and Futures like that, he let everyone know just how he felt. Kendrick went directly at J. Cole and Drake. Mother F the big three, it's just Big Me. He called Drake's best album a light pack, and he dissed Drake's For All the Dogs album. This verse began the biggest hip-hop beef in over 20 years. The rap civil war, or whatever you want to call it, but surely one of the biggest beefs of all time. It was like 2013 all over again when the Control verse just dropped, but this time, Kendrick was actually dissing. Drake responded with push-ups, and the duo went back and forth with several diss tracks. However, Drizzy's diss track wasn't just about Lamar alone. He had some words for another man who Drake actually created several hits with, Rick Ross. A lot of people were surprised when Drake dissed Rick Ross on Push-Ups, because these two used to be one of hip-hop's best collaborators. I mean, who could forget classics like Stay Schemin', Aston Martin Classic, or I'm On One? Rick Ross and Drake had undeniable chemistry. Drake and Ross had been collaborating since 2009. So when Drake said, I might take your latest girl and cuff her like I'm Ricky, can't believe he jumping in, this nigga turning 50. Every song that make it on the chart, he got from Drizzy. These bars caught a lot of people off guard. The duo first had issues when Drake started beefing with Meek Mill. Rick Ross sided with Meek as he was signed to him, but they patched up their relationship after Meek and Drake became friends again. And even in January 2024, Rick Ross still spoke about how close he and Drizzy are. But after Like That dropped, everyone noticed that Rick Ross had unfollowed Drake, and Rick Ross was also featured on the We Don't Trust You album. Drake then invited Rick Ross's ex, Christina Mackey, to his tour, basically doing what he rapped about on Push-Ups. It seems the boss had been waiting to get dissed by Drake because he wasted no time dropping his own diss track, Champagne Moments, after Push-Ups was leaked. He accused Drake of using ghostwriters, then mocked him for leaking Push-Ups rather than releasing it directly. Then he also accused Drake of doing surgery to get his nose fixed. Ross stated in the song that he unfollowed Drake because he sent a cease and desist letter to French Montana. This might be the actual reason that started the Drake and Rick Ross beef. Drake supposedly sent a letter that stopped French Montana from using a Drake verse for the song Splash Brothers, which was meant to be on French's album. French Montana actually featured Drake and Rick Ross on the song, but after Drake sent the letter, his verse was removed from the song and he was replaced by Lil Wayne. And this certainly didn't sit well with the boss. But Rick Ross and Kendrick weren't the only artists that had issues with Drake and were featured on the We Don't Trust You album. The next name in this video isn't even a rapper. Instead, he's just a man who was born and raised in the same city as Drake, but he doesn't F with him at all. Just like the other names in this video, The Weeknd and Drake actually started as collaborators. The Weeknd was the new talented artist coming out from Toronto, while Drake was the established rapper who became like The Weeknd's mentor. The duo met in 2011, and Drizzy supported The Weeknd during the early stages of his career. Drake always wanted to sign him, but The Weeknd always made it clear that he didn't want to sign with another artist.
With Abel, we had our run, you know, we had our moments on Take Care, and you know, my features on his projects, and he just really came to me at one point, came to all of us and was like, look, like I don't want to sign under another artist because I feel like I could be just as big or bigger and I want to start my own thing. And it was never like, I'm to this day, I'm always excited, always super happy for all those guys. And I never like had any resentment towards like, oh, you didn't stay on OVO. That was never really like, I'm not gonna say there weren't people that didn't feel a way about it, but that was never my thing. I never expected Abel to stay under OVO as soon as I heard him once express that he wanted to do his own thing. So it's like, my biggest regret would maybe be that we probably wasted 7 years not communicating with each other when we had something.
But although The Weeknd didn't sign with OVO, that didn't stop them from working together. They worked together multiple times, and The Weeknd wrote nothing less than 4 songs on the Take Care album, and The Weeknd featured Drake on his Kiss Land album. The Weeknd eventually signed with Republic Records in September 2012, and it was after this that the problems began. Drake put out a tweet shortly after The Weeknd signed his deal that said, "You won't get away with just a thank you. You owe me a favor." Many believe this tweet was directed at The Weeknd. The duo made amends after this, and Drake even invited Weeknd for one of his European tours. But then the beef began again in 2015. The Weeknd did an interview with Rolling Stones and stated that the songs he wrote for Drake were originally for his House of Balloons album. He stated, "I gave up almost half of my album. It's hard. I will always be thankful. If it wasn't for the light he shined on me, who knows where I'd be." And The Weeknd said this around the time Drake was accused of using ghostwriters. Then The Weeknd seemingly sent some subliminals at Drake on the song Lost in the Fire when he said, "And I just want a baby with the right one, because I could ever be the one to hide one," which is obviously a reference to the Drake hiding his son Adonis incident. But even after this, Drake and Weeknd made up and became friends again. They were both seen hanging out together at The Weeknd's birthday party in 2022. However, when Metro and Future dropped We Still Don't Trust You in April 2024, The Weeknd was featured on the album and took a couple of shots at Drake. He said, "They can never diss my brothers, but they got leaks in the operation." And then he said, "I thank God that I never signed my life away," which was confirmation that The Weeknd was glad he never signed to OVO. Drake responded with some lines for The Weeknd on Push-Ups. And this time, there was no sneak dissing, as he name-dropped The Weeknd and his manager when he rapped, "Your manager was Chubbs, lil' blunt runner. Claimed the 6 and you boys ain't even come from it. And when you boys got rich, you had to run from it. Cash blowing a bell bread, out here tricking. Shit we do for bitches, he ain't do for bitches." And this was a shot towards not only The Weeknd, but also his manager, Cash XO. Metro, mastermind of this entire story, made sure he got The Weeknd on this album, not only because of his talent, but also because he knows how much he hates Drake. And while Metro was collecting all Drake haters, another rapper he brought on his album was A$AP Rocky. Just like with K-Dot, Drake was perhaps the first person to put A$AP on when he invited him on the same Club Paradise tour he had Kendrick on. Rocky was one of Drake's opening acts throughout almost the entire tour dates, just like Kendrick.
Well, you know what it is, Drizzy Drake, OVO XO Click, man. A$AP, what's happening? So, I mean, you know, I'm trying to earn the right to call myself A$AP Drizzy one day. Oh! It's like, it's official. And there it is. I'm trying to earn the right, man. Nah, for real, it's just, it's rare that you meet people, man, like, with talent and then, like, just a mindset and then just like an immediate loyalty to go with that talent, you know? So when I met A$AP, like I've said in the interviews, you know, to whoever asked me, you know, I'll say the same thing, man. Like, this guy right here just right off the bat did one of the kindest things anybody's ever done. Like, came to check me, brought me a bottle of Chris, you know what I'm saying? Got me back drinking Chris. Like, fun there. So I mean, you know, and aside from that, just the music, man, you know, from the new tape to the old stuff, it was clear cut. Like, you know, it's people I can put on here that the label wants me to put on here, but I fight for this one reason, man. Like, I fight to promote what I love.
When A$AP was asked in an interview, he stated that he will forever owe Drake for this gesture by taking him on tour with him.
The only person that put on for me when I ain't have nobody was Drake. I'm talking about Drake was the first person to put on, like, before anybody. He didn't want to sign me.
Yeah.
He didn't want to, it was like, yo, that's raw talent, yo. Like, you got to shine, yo. I'm going to see to it. I forever.
Drake and A$AP had a number of songs together, most notably on A$AP's Effin' Problems. However, it seems their problems started over a girl. Drake really liked Rihanna, but unfortunately for Drizzy, she just wasn't that into him. They first dated in 2009 and then again in 2014, but Riri denied that they were ever involved at all. Then they had that famous kissing incident at the 2016 VMAs, but while Drake was seemingly obsessed with Rihanna, she had her eyes set on another man, A$AP Rocky. Rocky and Rihanna first met around 2011. They first worked together on a song in 2012. Then he toured with her in 2013. And then the Lovebirds were seen hanging out together in 2018 and 2019. By 2020, there were rumors that they were dating. And then by May 2022, it was confirmed that they had their first child together. And right now, Riri and A$AP are like everyone's favorite couple. Well, it seems not everybody is happy about this relationship. This beef started first with sneak disses. Many fans believe that Drake's first verse on the song Fear Heights was about Rihanna. Why they make it sound like I'm still hung up on you? That can never be. Gal can't run me. I'm anti. Yeah, and the sex was average with you. And I had way better bitches than you. And then on the song Another Late Night, Drake rapped, I ain't Pretty Flacco, this shit get really rocky, which was a shot clearly directed at Rihanna's man. A$AP responded on We Still Don't Trust You. On the song Show of Hands, he said, niggas swear they bitch the baddest. I just bagged the worst one. Niggas in their feelings over women. What, you heard of something? I smashed before you birthed, son. Flacco hit it first, son. Still don't trust you. It's always us, never them. Heard you drop your latest shit. Funny how it just came and went. I love Flacco, but you've got to admit that he's the last person who should be mocking Drake about his music. Drake responded on his song Family Matters as he rapped, Rakim talking shit again. Gas cause you hit my BM first. Nigga, do the math. Who I was hitting then? I ain't even know you rap still, cause they only talking about your fit again. Probably gotta have a kid again, before you think of dropping any shit again. Even when you do drop, they gon' say you should've modeled, cause it's mid again. In the end, the only constant in this beef is Drake. And if you are the same person everyone is having issues with, then maybe you gotta look in the mirror to see who the real problem is.